have kind of a love-hate relationship with expense reports. Maybe you can sympathize. On the one hand, well, I love getting reimbursed for business expenses. That's nice. But on the other, I kind of hate collecting receipts on work trips, copying numbers into spreadsheets, and asking for the umpteenth time, what's the email address for AP again? I also hate being late, and usually I am, and that creates problems for people like Terisa.
What that looks like is the finance person chasing the receipts to kind of become known as the person you avoid. They see you, they're probably going to ask you, where's that receipt that you're missing? The whole tediousness of it, I think, just creates an environment where sometimes there's low accountability with what's happening in the spending side.
That's Terisa Clark. She's a CPA and a fractional CFO for nonprofit organizations who's had to deal with people like me for over 30 years. And she's pretty excited about how modern AI and automation is drastically streamlining expense reports.
You know, I think automation it's really a game changer. Before I had experience with seeing these automation platforms and softwares, this is what expense reports look like. There's this endless cycle of, copy and paste. You get the statement, you copy the transactions, you create the Google sheet, you share it with the people, you chase the receipts. It becomes this ongoing, really feels like an endless cycle of just, you get 1 month finally buttoned up and then it's like that month's ended and now you're back on to doing it again. And really that's if you're lucky. Sometimes these things can linger out. So I think that the beauty of automation and tools, software like Ramp, and there's others in the market, but it's by far my favorite, is just that it takes these things, takes the energy that you're spending, moves it away from that repetitive stuff and get you back into the more meaningful work. Kind of that, I would really love to see the automation happen in clients I'm working with, because it moves them to actually focusing on their mission, the forward-looking work about what they really want to be up to.
Do you have any specific examples of things that automation has helped you out with?
Credit cards and spending on, corporate cards tends to be the place where the greatest backlog happens. And so here's what I really love. I love how receipts are captured. And that's because really they're not just captured one way. So whether it's, at a meal and you've made a purchase and then immediately my phone will go off, ding, and I'm sitting there with the receipt. So it's just a simple capture the receipt and I'm done. Or if it's an online purchase that's taken place, that ability to forward that email to a simple receipt email address, and then it's going to match and read those things to the transaction immediately. Those are some technology features that as a user, as someone who's spending, it has significantly improved the speed, the ease, and just the need to think about it more than once.
Yeah, you were talking about that in your video I was watching. One of the big benefits of something like this is that it prompts you for the receipt and basically coding that transaction in the moment rather than building up a bunch of transactions and then at the end of the month trying to file it and be like, okay, where did I leave this receipt?
Yes.
And it sounds like it does it in a way that's, it could be cumbersome if you had to break out a Google spreadsheet every time you bought coffee,
Yeah.
but it sounds like it's hitting you via text message and you take a picture of your receipt. Is that what's going on?
Yes, it's hitting you immediately with that text alert or the app alert, and you're able to immediately take just a digital receipt. I kind of like to call it the one-touch system, right? Who of us remembers what we did last week? The week before, a month ago? The further away from the moment something happens, the less likely we are to remember or even to want to hassle with it. So the fact that it's so real time and immediate, it sure has made that just freed up a lot of time and made things more accurate because you're doing it when you actually remember it.
Any spend that's made on a Ramp card gets automatically captured and coded. And if your policy requires additional details, like an image of the receipt, for example, the employee making the purchase just gets a notification in the moment with a prompt to take a picture of the receipt on their phone. Assuming that everything is copacetic between the expense and your policy, that's the last time your employee will ever have to think about it. And your automations can handle approvals and log the expense in your ERP.
Has that removed the need to collect receipts then in the first place? Because you're just scanning it right away?
Absolutely. I don't collect those receipts any longer. They're scanned, they're digitized, and that's, taking the place of needing to carry around a bunch of receipts and, really minimizing the ability to mix the personal and the business as well, which can happen easily.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be especially nice doing business trips and stuff. I just can remember going on a week-long trip and then having a pocket of my backpack that it's basically dedicated to receipts.
Yes. You can skip the receipt file. One of the features I like is how it handles categorizing transactions. A lot of times those things are just miscoded or someone doesn't know. So it creates another layer of delay in getting things submitted. But with the AI tools, what happens is that expenses begin to get auto-coded based on maybe a vendor or based on the historical behavior. And so that can speed things up and just remove the need for you to think about something that but have to look up. Another feature that I love is the policy checks. Working with nonprofits that don't have really a business owner who's watching expenses. Sometimes the need for accountability is it's really high. And I'm sure business owners would even appreciate not having to look at all these things, to have some ability to put in some what you call spend philosophies, that what you're able to do is you're able to set what the spending philosophies and maybe realms of approval are. And then the system's going to flag and going to block anything that, first of all, is out of your spending policy. For example, I have a nonprofit who will not pay for alcohol at a dinner. Well, that would be a policy that would be flagged in the spend automatically using AI.
Ramp's AI policy checks help approvers in two key ways. For starters, when reviewing expenses that need approval, Ramp will recommend which action you should take. The AI analyzes the expense, your policy, and even your historical approval patterns to help you quickly make decisions. And if the AI finds an issue with an expense, it'll even link you directly to the line in your policy that covers that issue, so you always retain context and control. If you're ready to save even more time, you can also use Ramp's AI agents to handle approvals for you. Set rules for which expenses you want the AI to review, and new expenses will automatically be handled with the same level of context and analysis of both the expense and your policy. Approvals can happen automatically, or the AI will flag expenses that either don't meet your policy or otherwise need review, like catching accidental duplicate expenses.
Is there anything else, Terisa, that we should talk about on the topic of automating expenses?
There's one more thing that I think is really important to talk about, and that's that all of these tools that are making, using AI to make expense management, more seamless and speedy. Here's the best thing. The icing on the cake is that approved expenses are going to flow into your ERP or accounting software, coded to the correct general ledger accounts and with documentation. One of the things I love about Ramp is Ramp's sync with QuickBooks. Specifically, the receipts are also there. So, if you're looking at how much do we spend on travel and entertainment, you're going to see a list of expenses that if you click on in QuickBooks, you're going to see the receipt as well. And so it's just a beautiful integration where the data stays with the accounting records and can be an extra level of comfort for business owners, that it's not just in some third system, but it's actually right there in your accounting system, fully integrated.
That sounds cool. I got to admit, though, this is again where my ignorance comes in. The need for an ERP in addition to software like Ramp. What's the purpose that the ERP serves that Ramp doesn't do?
Yeah, the ERP or the accounting software solution, if they can sometimes be the same or they can be two different things, is going to serve for a business owner as that place where the total cost of a particular expense is going to be seen. So, for example, it could be meals and entertainment. And so that meals and entertainment line item is going to tell you for the month we spent, $2,000 in this area. You're able to, using that system, drill down on that and see the detail of it, which again, if it's coming from a tool like Ramp, it's going to include receipts. Ramp is not an accounting solution at this time. It doesn't provide a full ability to present a profit and loss statement or to report all the revenue and expenses. So it's rolling up into your tool. It is very good at what it's good at. It's not trying to be a one-size-fits-all solution for all these business things. And just honed in and focused. I love it because I feel like it's what makes it beat its competitors out of the market. I could name a few that are trying to do a lot of things and they're not doing them all well. And I love how Ramp has just really continued as well to improve. I mean, every time I have a call with one of my advisors at Ramp or, I'm on one of the developer calls, I mean, the features that keep rolling out every single quarter are just there. I mean, it's a partner you want to be with.
So automating expense reports, very good for people like me. No more piles of receipts from last quarter that AP is probably going to kill me if I try to file now. And on the back end, accounting professionals like Terisa spend less time chasing receipts and they close books on time, more accurately than ever before, which sounds kind of important. Big thanks to Terisa for the real world examples. If you got as much from this conversation as I did, well, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Ramp for more expert tips on how your business can save time and save money. See you next time.